Newsradio 560, WGAN.
This weekend, get opinion and analysis with the experience to back it up.
Inside Maine with Phil Harriman, Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Now, the WGAN Morning News with Ken Altshuler and Mike Violent continues.
Newsradio 560, WGAN.
It is 7:39. Good morning. Mike Violent and Ken Altshuler on the WGAN Morning News. Monday, June 8th edition. Hope you had a great weekend. Did I say who we were? I did, didn't we? We're Mike Violent and Ken Altshuler.
Why don't you just repeat it just so there's no doubt?
So you'll know. She, over there, that's Congresswoman Chellie Pingree, who's just strolled into the studio.
Drinking my coffee here.
A scheduled visit, however. It wasn't just a...
Right.
Just a mistake.
She's not in the neighborhood and just dropped in for coffee.
How are you, Congresswoman?
I'm doing very well. It's such a nice day in Maine. It's too bad to have to go back to Washington this afternoon.
Well, these are the pratfalls of getting elected.
Absolutely.
That's the way she goes. So you've been here for the weekend? Or?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
pretty much here every weekend.
Who did you smooze with over the weekend?
Oh, very good question. We did a variety of things. The Maine People's Alliance had an event. I spoke at the Freeport High School graduation yesterday. So
I saw the picture in the Portland Press-Out. They had a girl blowing bubbles.
Yes, that's a common occurrence.
Why do people do that in graduation?
Anything to celebrate. Come on, remember high school? How happy you were?
I don't remember high school.
Did you tell all the children to wear sunscreen?
Oh, my gosh. That would have been
forgot that part?
Yeah, next graduation.
Yeah,
that's a good one. It was an indoor graduation, but it was quite hot in spite of the fact that
So what is it? We're talking to Congresswoman Chellie Pingree. What is happening with you people down in Washington, D.C., huh? What's going on down there?
It's a busy place. We've got a busy summer plan. We have the entire appropriations process coming up in the next 2 months, and we're going to pass a universal health care bill, and we're going to do something about renewable energy, all before we take a recess in August.
Well, let's talk about the universal health care, shall we?
Wow. Okay.
Let's just jump right into it because, Barack Obama's talking now about doing a new tax to pay for it. He says he needs to do it in the first year. I mean, is that true that if he doesn't get it done in the first year, it's not going to happen?
Well, I don't know if it would not happen if we don't do it in the first year, but let's just be clear. It is the number one issue I hear about from everyone. Businesses, individuals, institutions that can't afford health care, hospitals, doctors, providers. Everybody wants the system reorganized and reformed. And, we've already passed the budget, and there's $634 billion in there for the new health care plan. So now it's just, coming together. And at some point, people just have to make a decision and move.
Okay.
So there. And we will. And we will keep you informed as we do.
Good.
A quick, concise answer from a politician. Doesn't happen very much.
It's Monday morning.
Congresswoman Chellie Pingree is with us. I know, this is not your area. It's for the Senate to do. But what is what are your thoughts on the nomination of Justice Sotomayor to be on the Supreme Court?
I'm a fan. Only the Senate gets to confirm the United States Supreme Court, so I don't have a say in the decision, but I think she would add some good balance to the court. I think she's a very experienced jurist, and I think she would do a good job.
Do you think your fellow representatives in the Senate, well, you know what I mean?
My colleagues in the congressional delegation, yes.
I've
had more coffee than you this morning.
Chellie, I've got to take you everywhere with me. You're so damn handy.
That would be an honor. That would truly be an honor.
Susan Collins and Olympia Snow, I happen to think they're going to vote for this and should.
You think?
Do you think that they will?
I mean, they have voted for her before, but I know that they're both spending time meeting with her. It's a very complicated decision. I would guess they lean towards voting for her, but I have no idea, and I haven't spoken to them about it. But it'll be a very interesting.
So in the end, do you think this will go without a filibuster?
I do. I think there's very few reasons to vote against her.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be
Except
the challenge.
that she's a racist. That would be the
Well, I mean, just throw that aside, though.
Yeah, and I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek because I think it's ludicrous anybody would call her
and you
racist.
are the one attorney in the room, as I recall, right?
Right, that's exactly right.
Yes, so you're more qualified to give an opinion than...
That's Congresswoman Chellie Pingree joining us this morning in studio, and unemployment rates have gone up, contrary to Barack Obama's... Well, I'm not sure it's contrary to his prediction, but certainly Mike is saying, how come he hasn't fixed the world?
Yeah.
9.5%. is this just kind of like a carryover from, as I described,
it's
that
Bush's
incompetency of the previous president?
Yeah.
And I can say that.
Yeah.
So,
I think Mike did. He just agreed, and he said this was a previous administration's problem.
Basically, Ken's question is, how long is the president going to be able to play it's the previous
that's
administration's
your
fault
question.
card?
Well, look, I mean, the economy is still in tough shape, and I think that Congress has done all it can, and the president as well, to try to infuse cash, help out the states, do as much infrastructure construction as we can, all those other things. But I think everybody knew from the start that even though credit is starting to flow a little bit and there's some movement in housing purchases, that the fact is unemployment will lag even as the stock market, looks better, gets better, consumer confidence has gone up. And it's a really tough problem right here in Maine. People are still losing jobs and they're still out of work and they're likely to continue. But I think everyone always thought from the beginning that would lag, and hopefully we'll see more positive signs later in the year.
We're joined in the studio by Congresswoman Chellie Pingree, and I have to ask you a question that is near and dear to us here at the Portland Radio Group, and that is the performance tax that is going to come before Congress very soon. This is a tax that would require local broadcasters like us who play records and music to pay the record companies and the performers for the music that now is on the air for absolutely free. First of all, how much do you know about the bill? And secondly, have you formed an opinion on how you'll vote on it yet?
Well, I'm doing my best to keep an open mind, so I wouldn't say I was an expert on the bill. And I do understand it's a very important issue to local radio stations. I've heard from many of you, and that's important. I care a lot about local radio, and I've been very sorry to see the demise of many stations here in the state of Maine. The fact is the bill probably won't come before Congress until well into the fall. The GAO is doing a study, which I think will give us a lot more information. People are proposing amendments to try to make it workable. And there is a little bit of controversy around it. You're right. The performers think that they should receive some, subsidy for what they're doing. Internet radio is already required to do that, and the changing nature of radio means that we have to kind of go in there and look at it. But I hear loud and clear the issue that small broadcasters have, and big ones, that they want to stay in business and they don't want to be unfairly taxed.
Congresswoman Chellie Pingree joining us in studio this morning. Well, Barack Obama went on a European tour and got some criticism for playing the Muslim card to his advantage, where maybe during the nomination process he was not quite as vocal as that heritage. Do you think that he is, I guess the question I want to ask, if you think that what people view him as maybe kowtowing to European leaders, I see it as much different. I think he's bridging a lot of, he's repairing the bridges that George Bush burned. Is he helping us internationally by these trips and by what he's saying to them?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that Barack Obama is very popular internationally. So I think anytime he represents the United States right now, it helps to show a somewhat different face than we've had in the past. And let's just say it, the Middle East is one of our most contentious and difficult issues. People on all sides of this, and Americans included, would really like to see a resolution to the conflict over there. We couldn't be more fortunate than we are in Maine because we have Senator George Mitchell over there as the president's envoy on this issue. And I think he either just went back or is about to go back following the president's speech. And, the president was trying to balance two very difficult sides of a conflict there. And, maybe some people felt he was playing the Muslim card. I think he was trying to lay everything out there and say Israel is our friend, but we need to push them a little bit here. Yet we can't stand for terrorism and we can't stand for the kind of behavior that's gone on, and how are we going to work through this conflict? He pushes, I think, honesty, forthright sort of dialogue and conversation, diplomacy. And look, what we've been doing in the last 8 years or 10 years really hasn't worked, and this is an untenable conflict.
Congresswoman, we have a minute left. Sounds like Mr. Obama had better crank up the Barack Obama goodwill machine and send it over to North Korea, because we've got issues there. What do we do with this guy?
I am so glad we only have like 20 seconds to discuss that, because that's complicated. And, I'm just getting straight on the Middle East, and North Korea is sort of my next tutorial.
I figured, what the hell?
Well, and this morning or yesterday, the two journalists were just taken prisoner. I'm sure
12 years of hard labor.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be an envoy go over there and try to negotiate that. But, that doesn't bode well for our relationship with North Korea, and we have a lot of work to do over there.
And the bottom line is we can't be the policemen of the world. I mean, what do we do with a rogue leader like that who does whatever he wants, and what do we do?
How about a bullet in the head? Would that be okay?
That's your solution.
No, that'd
that's
be a
what
little
we did
extreme.
in Iraq.
I think Senator Clinton or Secretary Clinton is kind of re-examining that situation, and I bet we will hear a lot more about it this week.
Congresswoman Chellie Pingree joining us this morning. Sorry we don't have more time. We can ask
Yeah,
you
you could have
lots more
amplified on your
questions.
North Korea answer for 5 or 10 more minutes.
Yeah, shoot. I was so lucky on that one. Can we go back to the performance tax?
Remember, next graduation speech, sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
Emphasize the sunscreen.
And let's not forget fluoride in the water. I always want to emphasize
That is one of my favorite topics, and I cannot believe you didn't let me discuss